Take a moment in this meditative consciousness to witness yourself. Remaining in the stillness for a few moments, just notice the way you feel, the state of your mind. Your breathing. Your heartbeat. From this consciousness, hold all people and all circumstances in the light, this light of consciousness. Consciously extend the peace that you've cultivated out from you and spread it everywhere. See if you can sense your ability to bless our world. This is a practice of opening your heart and mind beyond the ordinary, to feel the deeper connection with all things and everyone. This is resting in oneness consciousness. See all things that come to you and come through you today as directly from the infinite. Gifts you can give and receive. Actions emanating from the truest part of yourself. Feel connected directly to each person you interact with. Feel each activity as co-creation. Know that this gift of meditation you have given yourself has lifted you into another state of being that you can remain in or return to if you feel you've shifted, by just stopping still, reflecting, becoming fully conscious, and then acting. We acknowledge ourselves as lights of the one life, shining brightly in this world today. And so it is. Om. Peace. Amen. Chant Om with me just one time, and seal this meditation. Peace. When reflecting upon meditation, one of the things that I'm often struck by is how active it is, especially in the initial stages before we enter into that stream of meditation that is effortless. But when we are initially practicing the techniques that we use, it's not passive. We're not just sitting and letting things happen to us. We are completely engaged in activity, even if it is activity on a subtle level, listening within, looking within, attentive to the breath, using a mantra. This is called pratyahara and is complete concentration or focus. It has, of course, the effect of training the mind to be singly focused. And this is not just useful for deeper and deeper stages of meditation. This is very useful in daily life. If you've been meditating for a while, even after, like today, if you haven't been meditating for a while, even today you might find that you're more able to focus on any activity that you engage in. This is why it's advisable to study, do spiritual study, and if you have a class you're taking or something, you can study that too, but to study right after meditation. Your mind is clear and bright and very focused. And we have just had an experience of what we're studying. So it is very useful to do that. Speaking about passive versus active, this week during meditation, I was really struck by the difference between passive listening and active listening. While meditating, I began by talking about untying the knots of the senses that are, like tethered to the outer world. So when we're going through our day, we are listening to sounds and we are seeing sights and we are using our sense of touch and smell, and we are speaking using our facility of speech, and we necessarily do this. We wouldn't be able to move around and do things in the world if we didn't have these senses gauging what's going on and what's coming to us, through us, and at us. But for meditation, we have to untie all of these so that we can just rest in pure being. This pure being continues to be a mystery. It is our essential self, and when we may read in the teachings of Buddhism or Hinduism or New Thought or whatever about how the world is sort of unreal, it's an illusion, the things we experience in the world. I'm sure you've heard that. And through meditation, we come to know that. I don't doubt that that's true. There's a level of that, it's an esoteric teaching that is very true. But there's also a sense that the world becomes more real through interacting with it from that true, the part of ourself that is most real, our essential self, so that when we see things as they really are. And therefore, in my mind, we could say that the world becomes more real in another sense. Like if you're listening rather than hearing, and you're listening, say someone wants to be with you and share from their heart with you. And if you're just hearing them, and you're also thinking about, what you're going to say, it's not quite the same as giving yourself fully in listening to them. You probably have a sense of what I'm saying. Let me get a little closer to what I mean. Think of a time when you were truly listened to by someone, when they engaged themselves fully in just hearing what you had to say. There may have been, silence after that left a space for you to say more, or for you to reflect upon what you just said without being interrupted. It's a powerful thing to be listened to. It's almost impossible to even express when you've had that experience of being fully listened to. So that's maybe a little bit closer to what I mean by the world becomes more real. It becomes a deeper experience, a more direct experience, like goes straight to the heart of the matter, or straight to your heart. So when our mind is purified, the mind field is purified by releasing this tendency to grasp onto things or react to things rather than consciously respond to things. It's a truly transformative experience, and I think we become the amazing beings that we're intended to be when we're living in that way. So, untying the knots. Sometimes when my mind is really busy and I want to get to the meditative experience, I initially use a visualization along with this untying the knots, and I can see in my mind's eye in the initial stages of meditation, I can see a knot that I am attempting to untie, and I apply it to a particular sense. So maybe it's my sense of sight or vision, and I'm allowing myself to focus by just gazing into the darkness behind closed eyes as part of the practice, part of the techniques. And I can visualize untying a knot that is filling my mind with images. And when the knot is untied, I can no longer be swayed or pulled or distracted by those images. And it helps me to focus. These focusing techniques are similar to, I've been studying a lot about the creation of the universe, and it's quite fabulous study, and I can see a lot of correlation to our study of the inner realms of our own mind and body, and how it works, and how to overcome the habitual tendencies and allow ourselves to be in full mastery of our own minds and bodies. And I was thinking about what's called the event horizon. In a lot of times it's applied to black holes, but I don't want you to necessarily think about a black hole when you're trying to meditate, because that's, it's like a complete loss of control, right? You're just sucked into a hole. No, don't go there. But the act of flowing into meditation is something that we don't actually control. It's something that happens once we're fully focused, once we're fully released from these tendencies to place our attention outside of ourselves. And then the flow just happens. So when we say we're meditating, when we're sitting in our 30 minutes, most of that time is spent trying to get to that meditation. What we're actually doing is practicing the techniques that allow meditation to happen. We have to remind ourselves of that all the time, so that we are aware that there's something more that will happen once we perfect allowing ourselves to go fully with the techniques and then flip over to the other side. So it is sort of like the event horizon of a black hole. But the black hole is actually an expansive space within which we are held and blissful and peaceful and awake and aware, and it's really what we truly are. So, poor glow keeps dropping out. So, this morning, share whatever's on your heart. I really want you to, after meditation, often just reflect upon the experience of meditation, not in a judgmental way about whether it was good or bad, but one of the reasons why we sit after and just witness ourselves is to really see the benefits of meditation right after, so that we ourselves can, for ourselves, be able to articulate the difference between meditative consciousness and ordinary consciousness. Once we can do that, we can, I think, more easily continue in our practice and more in a more heartfelt way, because we're really connected to it. We really start to understand it and what it does for us, and what techniques and practices work for us and get us closer to the true experience of meditation, so that we can tailor it for ourselves. I offer you guidelines and a little guiding in the initial stages, but when you practice on your own, I'm hoping that you find these techniques useful and will use them and expand upon them for yourself. But you don't need to use all of them at the same time. You can choose which ones or one works for you, and which one, gets you where you want to go. So that's all I want to say. And I invite you all to speak whatever moves you, because your wisdom is invaluable for me and for each one of us. And to speak your wisdom is a great gift.